is Sarah Poff, and those aren't hands. We're getting ready to start real soon here. Alright, this is Sarah Poff, and those aren't hands. These hands are a gift from God and the creativity that goes with them. I'm Sarah Poff, the Multimedia-Storyteller, and I've done art and crafts with students and adults over the last 40 years. And I want to just show you some of the things I've learned along the way. One of my favorite ones to do, I did this every year in April. I called it Earth Week, the week that encompasses Earth Day, and we would save tubes all year long, and then we would make items with those tubes. So I want to show you a few ways and tricks to maybe help you with being able to do that. So let's see, I think we're going to start working on some Easter projects as I go live with you over the next little bit. And so let's start with a bunny today. And I'm going to make him pink just because I have grown girls in my life now, and young grown girls, preschool age, and they like pink. So that's why we're going. They like pink and red. So pink fits the bunny better. I love making these, though, that are a little bit based on animals, and then students can write a story. If you're looking for an extension activity as you do some homeschooling over this time, an extension activity is to have a journal where you write about your creation and what you're creating, what they're doing or how they made it. Either one. Some kids like to get into the details of how they made it. Some people like to write a story about what's going on. So, I'm trying to get better at you being able to see my hands. I've switched around some things, trying to learn. Just keep trying to learn. Alright, so I'm going to use a toilet paper roll this time. You can, choose to use paper towel rolls and cut them down or use them whole. As you see, we've done all kinds of different ways. If you don't have a tube, which maybe a lot of us have tubes right now, you could even take and roll a piece of construction paper, some kind of tube, some kind of box you've thrown away, and you could glue that, and then you could start from that. Now, you could cut this for, for your student when you're making it with them. However, I think it's good math skills to learn, for them to learn how to do something like this. You're teaching them the skills, like that saying about, you can give people a fish, but if you teach them to fish, they can do it. So I'm going to show you what I do. I give them a piece of construction paper, and then I show them how to do this. I'm going to go over here. You don't need a ruler. You can just measure it off with the tube. I find that, they're not quite as good, students aren't quite as good with those ruler skills as they used to be. So I like to do it this way. Plus it's faster, and you don't have to pass out as many supplies. Alright, so I'm going to cut that out. Okay, now let's get over here and get my glue. One of the hard things when you're doing like this is to get the students to put the appropriate amount of glue. You want enough to hold it, but you don't want so much that it ends up being a problem. What I suggest people to do is to take your finger and you rub across so that you don't have as many blotchy spots of glue. Now, you've got, when you do things like that, you've got to teach them how to take care of it. So what you have to do is you have to dry it up. So friction causes, rubbing your hands together causes friction. Friction causes the glue to dry up. Okay, now my hands are clean. except I have a little bit of the dirt off my hands that mixed in with the glue is now on the paper. But it'll be fine, it'll be inside. Alright, so now I'm going to take this, and they'll go like this, and it'll go, teacher, Mom, I can't do it. It doesn't work right for me. So you've got to teach them that they need to learn to have some patience. One of my favorite songs at this time is to sing, have patience, don't be in such a hurry. I'm not good at singing. Have patience, don't be in such a hurry. Now, I suggest that they do that about 60 seconds, and if you saw what I did, I'm rubbing it. I'm rubbing that seam. There again, rubbing it causes friction. Friction causes the glue to dry and gets it to do quicker. And so I actually ask them to count to 60, hoping that they will get most of the way to 60 before they quit, and the glue will be dried by then. Sometimes it's dried before that, but that just is a little insurance there. Plus it gets them to sit still for just a minute. Okay, so there's that part. Now, let's see, my rabbit, he needs ears. You know, when you're making an animal, if you choose not to make this one, think about what makes that animal different than other animals. So one of the things that we think about when we think about a rabbit is we think about floppy ears. So I'm going to fold my paper in half so that both ears are the same size. And then I'm going to draw an oval that doesn't come to the, you know, it's more like a U. A U and an oval put together is maybe how to say it. So I'm going to draw something like this. Like I said, it's folded because that way both will be at the same time. Now I think I'm going to cut it in just a little bit. And that's something you can draw for them. That's something they can learn to draw. Practice it. You know, it depends on your age of your student, what you're trying to teach them. Okay, so then I'm going to glue these together. Just a little bit of glue right there. I usually do that same thing, and I usually like wipe it there on the edge of my hand. Now I'm going to lay those down. I'm going to put a little bit of white inside the ears. Now I'm going to use this as my pattern because I'm going to want that to be smaller. So I'm going to draw inside here. And then I've got two at once. I've got the paper folded, and I'm going to cut inside of that because I know I want it smaller than those original ears. Okay, let's see if I think that is small enough. I think that's good. What do you think? Is that good? Anybody have a comment for me? All right, now I'm going to glue those in. I'm going to glue those in. There again, I did the same. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do a little bit of rubbing. I didn't take that time to rub it across. And you could always take just a little piece of paper, something like this, and then just rub across that glue. I know a lot of people use glue sticks, but in my experience, a lot of times the glue stick, it'll pop off later. And I just teach them how to do glue. You know, just kind of what I do. I just teach them how to do glue. I feel like they need to learn that skill. Is it a little messy? You bet. When you have 25 children in the same room and you're the only adult and they're 5 years old, it is a little messy. But just get in there and try with it. You'll learn who you need to watch and who you don't. All right, now he needs little eyes. I'm going to do the same kind of thing with the eyes. I'm going to have a folded piece of paper. Now I'm going to take a circle of some kind for those eyes. I'm looking around me to see what I might do. I think maybe this circle inside the tape might work. I think that might work. And then I folded them both together. That makes it quicker to cut out, plus they're the same size. All right, there we go. Okay, now he needs black spots, or she needs black spots in the middle of those eyes. Or maybe not in the middle, just somewhere here, closer to the bottom. Yes, my favorite tool in the whole wide world is a broken black crayon. If you check out one of my other casts that I did yesterday, I showed you some uses for the black crayon, rubbing the crayon. It just, you know, it just is a good tool. Don't throw those broken blacks away. Go check out my video and you'll learn what to do with them. All right. There we go. Now he needs like a triangle shaped nose. I think I'm going to do it from some of my scraps here. I'm going to I think I might just round that nose off a little bit. So I just took my scrap, cut a little triangle. And now I'm rounding it off. Put just a couple little dots there. I think I might want it more angled than that. I think I don't want the dots here. I just want it like this. Okay, now one of the things that we think about are whiskers. I don't have any black paper that I have that's thin that I could use for that. So I'm going to take my black crayon and I'm going to rub. Now I'm going to need to rub that on both sides. You can see this is my pattern from the airplane day. One of my videos was about making paper airplanes and home airplanes and all the fun that you can have learning to fly those, learning to design those, all the engineering skills you can learn from that. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to not cut in the middle. I'm going to leave a pretty good little section about a thumb's width. But I'm going to trim this really small. And I probably have more than I need, but on something like this, I'd rather have more than I need and trim some off. And I might just like bunch it up like that. I think that might be good. All right, let's open it up. Let's see what happens if I bunch it up. Let's see, that makes them kind of, I'm going to twist it here. So I just gave it a little twist in the middle. And I'm going to put this like this. I think he's good. He might be a little bit overdone, but sometimes that's what we do when we make tube animals. It's a little bit overdone. Okay. So I'm going to touch this to that glue I already have on there. And I'm going to glue it here. And then I'm going to glue it like that. There again, I want to hold it and I want to count to that 60. You can rub it and that'll help a little bit. Looks like I need a little more glue under here. One thing you can do to help on the glue is to screw the lead down just a little bit more. Don't screw it all the way out because then tons of glue comes out. And so if you'll just not screw this lid, see, you can do that whole direction. But now what you can do is, like, if you screw it back down and only let a little bit come out at a time, that helps. Especially when you're dealing with people learning how. Okay, now let's see. We're going to take this pencil here maybe I need, let's see what the white does. I didn't really want it to, we're just going to use the black. Give him a few little freckles there. A few little freckles. How about a tongue? I'm not a big fan of a lot of markers. I feel like students end up taking those markers and they don't do as good a job, and then they don't look as good. I remember one of the students I had, she came back as a helper when she was in high school, and I was talking to the kids about, oh, let's don't use the markers. We're going to just use crayons. And she's like, oh, I do remember that about you. You didn't like those markers. So there's my rabbit. You could add feet to him. Oh, yes, feet. And you need a tail. So we don't have a cotton ball here with us. So I can take a piece of tissue paper. You could take just a little piece of white paper and just cut it kind of cloud-like. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, uneven. So sometimes not having the exact supply that you need makes you think of a different way that you can do it. Okay, so there's his tail, and I'm not going to put legs on him because it looks like this is just the head. Later this week I'm going to do more Easter type crafts, so if you want to be watching. Hi Terry, good to see you. I do want to show my owl. Okay, everybody's falling. We're just going to put everybody over here for now, except my little rabbit. I do want to show you the owl because it's so easy. If you don't have very many supplies around, you're not one of those people that keeps those supplies, this one is so simple that, you know, it just doesn't take much. You can use a crayon, a marker, a colored pencil. You know, you could even just use a black ink pen. And so you're going to take that tube. You got to work with it a little bit at first. You're going to take that tube and you're going to just bend it like that. Now, even if you're not one of those people that has construction paper around, a lot of times those sticky notes, they're yellow. They're yellow. So right there you have it. And he doesn't have to have white here. Maybe you could do black here for the U's. They're just little U shapes. And some of them are good U shapes and some of them are fast U shapes. You could also, let's see what happens if I do the pencil. So if I'm doing U's with pencil, if I only have pencil and black ink pen, you know, I'm just thinking about if you got caught somewhere, I think you could even just use the pencil for that. If you got caught out somewhere and you needed a little project for the kids, I don't know, sometimes it just helps me. I know I'm like right now really busy with showing these, and the time I cook and do 2 broadcasts, and right now I'm running a virtual tour on a Facebook page. We're traveling west. If you happen to have any 4th graders, upper elementary, maybe it's 5th grade that they do it in now in Missouri, then you might want to join us. I'm fixing icons for each person that's there, and then we're going to travel west to Oregon and pretend on the trails. I will post that down below this, that link, in case you happen to want it. But see how easy that is? That one's real easy. You could, you know, you could cover it with, I saw one post where they had just all different color owls because it looked like owls were a little more popular. They kind of come and go. I know I have some owls left from the 1970s. My aunt had a lot at her house, so I have one in memory of her. So this is Poff, and those art hands, they're a gift from God. So is this day, one more day, and I thank you, God, for that. All right, we will shout at you again. I will put up a post for tomorrow. And late at 8 o'clock tonight, I will have one on there too. The ones at 8 o'clock will be more about techniques of trying and experimenting with the different art supplies. All right, you guys have a great day now. Thanks, Terry, for watching me. See you soon.